Good morning. Coming to you today because I wanted to talk to you guys about family. Yes, I'm new to YouTube, but take a listen. I'm going to be talking about the secrets in the family that nobody talks about. And for some reason, all of these things are such secrets. And I don't understand why. That's what I'm going to be talking about today. So today, I want to discuss it. I took my DNA test, and yes, I got my genetic makeup, and everything is what I expected. A little bit of extra things that I wasn't expecting, but for the most part, it was what I expected. The kicker for me is the information that I found out in the history of it, like when you start doing your family tree. Um, I found out some disturbing things that I am questioning to this day. My grandmother passed away, I want to say in 2000, maybe 2001, something like that. And I just discovered that she and my grandfather was never married. In fact, he had a wife and 4 other kids. But because of the time, he could not live with her or his wife because she was white. So they couldn't be together in the place where they were living. I'm not sure the exact information about that because I'm still learning. However, he had 4 children with his wife, but he had 4 children with my grandmother, who he lived with. Weird shit, okay? So I've been trying to figure out how all this plays out because I also found out that my grandfather was buried in, I think it's Culver City. Culver City, and that, well, it's closer to Compton, but it's just only like 20 miles from where I actually grew up. So my grandfather died when my mom was 5. So she really didn't know him too much. However, the fact that for years nobody ever mentioned that we had another part of our family that we could have been talking to or known, we didn't know any of them. And my mom says she remembers going to their house as a child. She went to their house as a child, and remember that they were older. They were like in their teens. These kids were in their teens, and older when she was 5. So I don't know how the hell he introduced my mom to his family, but just the thought of that is bonkers. So we have a whole nother side of the family that I don't know, that she didn't really know. And now they're older. They're older than her. So my mom is 71. So they have already, most of them are already passed. I think she said there's one surviving person, but she thinks it's a child of one of the siblings. Because she found out her, she did her DNA because of my DNA. And I mean, because of, I'm not going to go into that. She did her DNA, and then I did my DNA. So our ancestry. So it was just frustrating to find out this information. Now, when you look at the records back in that time, he had like all these, all this information about himself in the census. Like, I didn't know that they did so much of the census back then, or that Black people even paid attention to the census, because I tried to avoid them for most of my life, most of my adult life, because I feel like they were being intrusive. Like, you're so freaking nosy, get out of my life. But I did it anyway, because I almost felt threatened to do it. Like, they would show up at my door, and or call me until I actually get to meet with one of them. it was annoying. So I don't know if that was happening back then at the same time. Or, I'm so sorry. I don't know if that was happening then, but at the same time, I feel like I didn't know black people really like answered the census. As a matter of fact, when I talk about it to friends at that time, people would be like, no, they don't ever contact me, or I just avoid them. And I'm like, well, why are they contacting me? Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But I just wanted to say, it's crazy to see how they were all registered to vote. Like, all my grandparents were registered to vote. That's a proud thing for me, because I registered at 18 and I haven't turned my back since. I voted every single election. So that was a proud moment for me to know that they all voted. But I also found out that my grandfather had land, and so I'm confused about that part of it, because my grandmother, and I'll get on that in a moment, my grandmother and my mother and her siblings all just was so poor, just in the state of poverty all the time. Now, according to my mom, my grandmother used to tell her all the time that she had oil wells. Now, my grandmother's from Texas, so I'm going to go on that side now. We have lots of family in Texas. As a matter of fact, we have a lot of family in the South. I think it had like 7,000 something family members with some part of the DNA that matched, which is absolutely nuts, because I never was told. I absolutely thought that my mom's family consisted of my grandmother, my aunts, and my uncle, because everybody else died. Who freaking knew? The larger side of my family is on my dad's side. So I was like, of course, there's like 300 plus of us on that side, maybe more than that. Now that I'm doing the ancestry, I see that there's way more than that. But I know for sure at least 300. What's freaking me out is that I went and researched my grandmother's side. And I already know, I'm going to go back to this point. My mom said, your grandmother used to say we have oil wells, and I didn't believe her because we were starving, because we were hungry. We didn't have nice clothes. We didn't have a nice place. So I was like, why does she keep lying to us like this? My mom then went to a family reunion in Texas, and the family has like my grandmother's family have big, huge houses, live in mansions, some of them, because they have their oil wells. My grandmother has oil wells, 4 of them. What disturbs me the most about this, because yes, they've been knowing about it. My mom had found out, and then, my grandmother had been getting little checks here and there from her oil well. But I told her, my grandmother used to talk to me about those oil wells all the time when I was younger, all the time. And she would say things like, I'm waiting for a check for my oil well, because something just happened. I don't know what the word was that she used, but it just happened, and so I should get a check. Okay. I don't know, as a kid, I'm like, oh, okay, we're going to be rich, because I thought, oh, $5,000 checks means that we're rich. $5,000 sounds like a lot of money when you're 9, 8, So I just thought that that's what was happening. And my grandmother would get a check, but she would say, it's not as big as I was expecting. Something's not right. She would say that all the time. And I'm telling my mom this just a few months ago. And she's like, no, I just didn't believe her all those years. And so I can't believe she was telling you guys this. Yes. We were having conversations about how she's going to put us in a all the grandkids in a mansion, and you know, all this, you know, great stuff, but never happened. So fast forward, or no, I'm gonna go back. My grandmother was saying all of this stuff. She passed away, and then my aunt says, well, I don't know, she was talking about her daughter. These checks, I'm trying to get my daughter to cash these checks that mom's been getting for this oil well. So my mom said, why are you getting all the money? It's supposed to be split between the four of us, the three sisters and a brother. So she said, I didn't know how to do none of that. So my mom took care of all of that. And then she went to the family reunion. And this is, you know, some couple of years later. She went to the family reunion and see the family is doing all well and they're great. And then on my grandmother's land, there's some squatters, some older white men who've been living on that land for years in the old shack house that used to be there. I mean, that was there from when my grandmother and her siblings were all younger. It's just a little shack house. They took that house over and they're living there with all the land. So I also found out when I called about it some years ago that, oh, they have the guy who lives there has an apartment complex. He bought an apartment complex, and I think he's using the money from the oil wells. Where is the family? So that's my question for you guys today. If this was you, what would you do? I'm holding my grandmother's family accountable because she left Texas when she was 18, as far as I know. Because my mom said 18, my grandmother said she left when she was 15. That's what she told me. She was running away. And she's running away from something, because I don't know how you leave from Texas to California at 15. Who? How? Who allowed this? And what was happening to where you had to leave at that age? Even at 18. So I don't know the ins and outs of the story, but my mom said she was 18. I said, and my grandmother said she left with a man, and my mom said that's not true. I said, how do you know if you weren't born? Anyway, we're not going there. I don't know if my grandmother was telling me something and not expecting me to say nothing, because I didn't say nothing until now. That's why my mom is so shocked. But to have all of this stuff going on, all these different things that's happening, these secrets in your family, it makes you wonder, like, how much shit that I don't know, like how much stuff is going on that I don't know. I also found out my grandfather, my grandmother's boyfriend, glorified boyfriend, baby daddy, whatever you want to call him, his family lives in Jamaica. Okay, so now we have to go search that and see what's going on with that. But this grandfather also was born, his mother left Jamaica and came to New Orleans, and he was born in New Orleans. In my ancestry, there's some connection between my parents, my grandfather and my dad's side of the family. So I'm like, are we all freaking related? Guys, listen. This is so ridiculous. Like, I don't know what's happening, but I'm at a loss of words, especially finding out that all of this stuff, all these things in our lives, as far as being connected and having so many family members, and then also my grandmother's oil wells, and she's still, that land and all of that stuff is still sitting there. Now, none of my parent mother or her siblings, none of them have gone out to see what's going on with this. So I have a daughter who's 32, about to be 33 in 2 weeks, who's telling me that it's my fault now because I haven't gone out to check it on myself. I can't do anything. They're all still alive. They need to take their butts out there and see what's going on. But my mom said, no, it's just a lot of land. I could never live there. It's just too country for me. And I'm like, I don't care if you live there. See what's going on with everything. Guys, the family saga stuff is real. It is ridiculous. Anyway, I'm gonna get off my little soapbox right now. If you like what I'm talking about, because I will be sharing this kind of information. I like to talk about all types of things. I like to talk. So anyway, I'll be talking about this kind of stuff and sharing other things. I also am going to be showing interior design stuff because I am an interior designer. There's a lot of things and I'm still new at it. So I've been doing it for years, but not actually doing it professionally. I just started professionally. So anyway. So I am excited about life things right now, and I'm going through a lot. A lot of things are changing in my life. I just want to discuss it with somebody. So if you like that kind of stuff, subscribe. All right.